Okay, well, folks, let's walk through writing if statements, worksheet number 1 here. Every if statement, of course, begins with the word if. It has the word then over here to the far right, and it always ends with end if. So that's the shell of every good style if statement you'd ever see in Visual Basic. And the set of parentheses needs to contain what's called the control expression, which is the part that's either true or false. So let's look at the English wording of this this exercise. The way I wrote the question was, if the variable asparagus is equal to yes, then. Well, notice how the word then kind of matches up with the word then, and the word if matches up with the word if. So this part that's in between here, I call it the control expression. If the variable asparagus is equal to yes. So the name of the variable, which I use that special Courier font to make it look different from the other words. Asparagus is the name of the variable, and the equal to symbol is, well, the equal to symbol. And you do have to put double quotes around the word yes for this to work in the way that we mean for it to work. And now the rest of this worded question was the reward, the prize. Hey, your parent says you get dessert, but they do it through a message box. And that should be indented for good style because it's part of what's called the body of that if statement. So messagebox.show, you should remember the .show method. Even though I didn't tell you to use the show method, you should know that. And to be perfect, like my student Elvis, you should write, you get dessert with an exclamation mark, exactly like you're told to do in the worded question. Make sure you spell that all correctly. Any questions on number 1? Good. Now number 2, you have to do all this yourself from scratch. So quiet please in the room. Pay attention here. Hands off the mice right now. I don't want to embarrass anybody in public because for years they're going to be watching this video and I don't want to use your name in a bad way. Especially if you're dropping my class in the second semester and I never see you again. That will be a bad last memory. Okay, so there is the shell. In fact, that's the shell that you should have written for all of these questions. There's too much talking in the room. Right now, you're watching my mind think aloud. You're watching and listening. This is the way you can get partial credit on a test or a quiz in this class. At least you knew the outside shell of your if statement. Don't forget end if, because I'd probably take a point off if it were a test question. Okay, back up to number 2 there. So what part goes in the parentheses? Well, my way of wording it in my English phrase is I put the if part out here at the end of the English sentence. Oh well, that's okay. Num greater than 5 goes in this set of parentheses. That's just the way it is. You better know what a greater than symbol is. It could be on your Keystone exam someday. That's a greater than, not a less than. Now, what is it that we get as a prize? What happens if num is greater than 5? Let me think. Oh, it's not really much of a surprise, or a prize rather. Messagebox.show true. Well, whatever. We're hired to write the line of code. Messagebox.show true. That's what we're being hired to do here. So let's just do it for full credit on this potential test question. The word true goes in a set of double quotes there, and that's that. Any questions? Okay, number 3. It's pretty much the same stuff except we have num not equal to 5. Hey, Nathan, what is the not equal to symbol in Visual Basic? Describe it.
It's an equal, like it's an equal sign. No.
Like that?
And then a dash.
No. No, that's what you see in algebra class. It's a less than followed by a greater than. Somebody said it the wrong way around. It's got to be the less than followed immediately by the greater than symbol. That's what the phrase not equal to, how that's translated into VB. Okay, well, it's in the lecture notes anyway if you want to go reread it again. Now, what are we doing here? We're also message boxing show. I'm going to save time, and this is a pain writing with a special pen. So I have permission to abbreviate messagebox.show as m.s. You do not have that permission, so please write it out on your worksheet. Moving on now, number 4. It's getting a little more complicated. Well, the body of the if statement's the same, m dot s true. I'll just do that part first. Now let's think about the control expression, the part that's either overall true or false. Let's tear this apart. If the variable num is greater than 5, well, let's write that out. Num greater than 5. I guess if you really wanted to, you could write 5 less than num, because that is the same thing, and I would give you full credit. But why? Why not just translate it directly from the English way of wording it? So I don't recommend reversing it, unless you really have to. Okay, moving on. Man, I should teach people how to tie ponytails and stuff in this class, and hair weaves, because then, man, you'd really be learning the right stuff. Now we see the word "and" here in the English language, or that is translated to the word "and" in Visual Basic, but Visual Basic always capitalizes the A. So that word "and" plugs in there. Now what's left? Num is less than or equal to 10. So some people just do this, less than or equal to 10. Well, that would be wrong, because that symbol is not on the keyboard. Patrick and Brian, there's no way to represent that symbol from the keyboards that are in front of you right now. In Visual Basic, you must type less than or equal to as a less than followed by an equal to symbol. So for full credit, that's the way to do it. But we're still wrong. Unfortunately, even though in math class, I think the teacher would know that what you mean is that num is less than or equal to 10. But Visual Basic requires you to type out the name of the variable again. So num must be typed a second time there. Even though it was found here with greater than 5, you got to do it there. That is the correct answer for number 4. Do not write your answer this way, though. Let me pick another color here so you're not confused. Do not put your answer this way inside this set of parentheses. Don't try to do it like this. 5 less than num less than or equal to 10. Even though, mathematically speaking, this is sort of true, that's equivalent, to a math teacher that would be a good way of doing it. But Visual Basic, or no computer language that I've ever studied, lets you do that kind of thing. You can't chain the variable num in between two less than symbols. Nope, 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 nope. You got to use the word and break it up into two little pieces like this. That's just the way it is. Any questions so far? Okay, number 5. Thank goodness that's a little simpler there. Let's go back to my color red. We start with the word if. We have a big fat set of parentheses and the word then. And then we have end if, of course, for partial credit. At least I know that much. Okay, we're supposed to display true. So inside indented for good style, you have messagebox.show true. Okay, who can help me figure out what goes in the parentheses of the if statement now? I'll pause, waiting for somebody to raise their hand. So Elvis said during the break there that we took that username is being checked to see if username is alphabetically less than M. So that's the answer. As long as you put your capital M in double quotes, you can use the less than symbol. Now what's really happening here? Well, you're supposed to pretend that username is equal to some log1 username, like say the name Cade. Somebody types in Cade with a capital C. And what the computer does is, behind the scenes, it finds what's called the ASCII value, also known as the Unicode value of the letter C, capital C. Who in this room knows what the ASCII value for a capital A is? 65. Good. Somebody said 65. They were just too quiet. So if A is 65, we know that B is 66, and a capital C is a 67. So we're really asking if the letter C from Cade, 67, is less than the ASCII value for M. Well, I don't need to know what M is exactly. All I know is that M falls further into the alphabet than the letter A, or the letter C. So it definitely is a fact that 67 is less than some number greater than 67. So overall, this would be true if my username was Cade. Give me a username that would turn out to be false, and therefore message box true would not pop up. Somebody tell me what a username would be that would cause this to be false. So anyway, there's your answer number 5. Okay, number 6. The answer is, it's an if-else statement. So if asparagus is equal to yes, we put the original answer that we had up in problem number 1 up here. Asparagus, I got to do this quickly because I'm running out of time. That equals yes in double quotes. In that case, we indent for good style messagebox.show, you get dessert. But if it's not true, what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to messagebox.show, you do not get dessert. So indented for good style, below the word else, but above the word and if, messagebox.show, you do not, in all uppercase letters, because that's what I told you to do, get dessert. So, any questions on that answer there for number 6? Oh, I need exclamation marks to be perfect there. Squeeze that in there, exclamation mark. Number 7. This is a little tricky. I will put this answer up here. Let's write the if-else statement. The shell of the if-else statement looks like this. I don't have time to really take a volunteer answer here, sorry. So there's the shell of your if-else statement. And there is a space between the word and the word if. Okay, so what do we put in here? If username is equal to Cade. So if username equals Cade. But you can't just write or Cade lowercase. Sorry, you can't do that. You got to write the word or, of course, but you got to repeat the word username. The variable name username must be repeated a second time, and the word Cade must be typed with a lowercase c to make this work the way it's intended to work. If that's true, and, oh man, I need a lot of room here in the parentheses, and the variable password is equal to ABC123. If all that's true, we messagebox.show welcome to Facebook. Messagebox.show, I don't have time to write that out, welcome to FB, and what do we put in the else? We put messagebox.show, do not try to hack. Do not try to hack Facebook. Now here's the kicker. Guys, if you don't add this extra set of blue parentheses that I'm about to add, if you don't have this extra set of parentheses in here, it's not going to work right. Who knows why we need that extra set of parentheses? Elvis again?
Because if you don't have the parentheses, then it'll just go to username, Cade, and password. So
Right.
You could just type in Cade with the capital C and then you can get in.
Yes! Way to go. You could hack Facebook and correctly log in as Cade with a capital C, because that would make this true, and anything ORed with a true makes the overall thing true. In other words, the order of operations is such that the stuff around the and always executes first, unless you put the extra parentheses in to override that. That was tricky. Have a great day.